All right, so we are now moving on to section 2.4, solving multiple step inequalities. If you remember from last week, we were solving one-step inequalities, first with addition and subtraction, then multiplication and division. Now we're going to put it all together and solve multiple step inequalities. So the first inequality we have, I'm going to rewrite it again. 2v minus 4 is greater than or equal to 8. We're solving here for v. So when we're solving two-step inequalities, we want to get rid of the addition or the subtraction first. So step one, I'm going to get rid of this minus 4 by adding 4 to both sides. When I do that, I'm left with 2 times v is greater than or equal to 8 plus 4 is 12. And then just like an equation, we're always canceling out what's currently happening. This is 2 times v. To undo multiplication, we divide. So we divide both sides by 2. Now, if you remember from last week, whenever you divide by a negative number, the sign flips. Whenever you multiply by a negative number, the sign flips. We're dividing by a positive number, so the sign does not flip. It's just going to be v is greater than or equal to 12 divided by 2 is 6. So this is the answer in inequality form. Every time we have an inequality answer, we also have to have a graph as well. So on the graph, I would need a 6. And since this is greater than or equal to, this would be a closed circle. And anything bigger than it or equal to it would be anything to the right. Letter B is a little bit more tricky. So if we look at letter B, it says solve y divided by negative 6 plus 7 is less than 9. Again, I like to rewrite these just because it's easier for me, but this is not necessary. So I'm solving for y. For this problem, the first thing I want to do is get rid of that extra plus 7 on the end. So to get rid of the plus 7, I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. So minus 7 here and minus 7 here. These 7's cancel out. I'm left with y divided by negative 6 is less than 9 minus 7 is 2. The last thing we would do to solve for y is undo what's happening right now with that y and the negative 6. This is division. The opposite of division is multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by the exact number that's being divided. What number is being divided right now? Yes, negative 6. So we're going to multiply by negative 6. And then that rule that I explained earlier is going to happen in this problem. Because we multiplied by a negative number, the sign here is going to flip from a less than to a greater than. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. So the answer is y is greater than negative 12. Whenever you multiply by a negative number or divide by a negative number, the sign must flip directions. So on my number line, the only number I need you to put on here is negative 12. I don't know what's going on here. And it would be an open circle. Anything that's greater than it would be anything to the right. And then the last problem on this page is different than the first two because we have variables on both sides. So when I go to solve this problem, I see 6x minus 5 is less than 2x plus 11. So because I have variables on both sides, right here, and right here, the first thing I want to do is move them all so that they are on one side. Your options would be to either move the 6x to the right or move the 2x to the left. I would rather move the 2x to the left because I know if I'm going to move that, I have to do the opposite of what's happening. It's a positive, so I'd have to subtract 2x from both sides. And I prefer to do that instead of subtract 6x from both sides because I know when I subtract 2, I'm going to be left with a positive 4x. If I subtracted 6x from both sides, I would be left with a negative 4x, and I prefer not to deal with negative numbers if possible. So when I subtract 2x from both sides, I get 4x minus 5 is less than 11. Now it's time to cancel out the minus 5 by adding 5 to both sides. I get 4x is less than 16. And then what's my last step in solving this problem? Yep, we're going to divide. We divide by the number in front of x, which is a positive 4. Because it's a positive 4, the sign does not flip. The answer is x is less than 4. We would put 4 on the number line. It's an open circle. Anything less than 4 would be anything to the left. So if we flip this over to the next page, there's a series of questions on this side that I want you guys to try on your own. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to have you guys solve these problems on the next page, and then we're going to go over the answers and then move on to some IXL practice.